then there's still a certain truth to that, but there's also a certain naivete to that. The fact is that the world is going nuts today. It's craziness. It's craziness. And I don't think one can have that attitude anymore. I think one has to get involved. One has to speak up. One has to use their voice to fight the political insanity, the philosophical insanity, the intellectual insanity that is going on in the world today. Left and right. The left is moving further and further towards nihilism, towards the destruction of the language. You probably all heard, because this was out there quite a bit, that in Berkeley now they have rewritten all the kind of all the city manuals to take out any reference to gender. This isn't a joke. There are no manholes. There are utility holes, or I don't know, something like that. Manholes. Why? Because that's not gender neutral. That has man in the title. They've also taken out all references to he, she. He, she, which refers to particular individuals or generalized individuals of a particular gender, are no good anymore because they insult those who are neither he's or she's. So now, and remember the old days, we used to say he, which referred to all human beings, men, women, and everybody in between. He was a universal. And then they said he/she. You had to say everything when you wrote. You had to have he/she to be politically correct and not leave women out. And now you can't say he or she because the people who don't identify with either gender, and you can't keep them out. So you know what they're using? This is perfect. You know what the replacement is for he or she, which is singular? It's they. It's they. Now, some of us really believed that Anthem would never happen. Anthem is Ayn Rand's novelette, where the word I has disappeared. The word I has disappeared. And all we have is we. Well, we're there. In Berkeley, he or she has disappeared. Now we have they. How far removed is that from the disappearance of I and the replacement with we? They, there's no singular. Upton says that Farsi has no gender pronouns at all. Whereas Hebrew, everything is gender. Everything. Inanimate object, either male or female, everything is gender oriented. I think French is like that as well. Farsi has no word for fun. Well, there you go. Then it must be the right language. In London, just to show you that this is not just some freakish, crazy, just Berkeley nuttiness. In London, the greeters in the subway stations are not allowed to say anymore, ladies and gentlemen. They just say persons or hi, or I don't know what they say. But ladies and gentlemen now is unacceptable. And we know Elizabeth Warren wants to, through fascist mechanisms, through the mechanism of government regulation and government control, wants to regulate every aspect of business, wants to replace boards of directors with with significant employee representation. She wants to basically destroy private equity. She wants to destroy Wall Street. She wants to regulate who can build what, where, who can outsource stuff to other countries. She wants industrial policy, a 4-year plan. They want to control the economy. They want to control every aspect of it. Call it fascism. Call it socialism. This is the ultimate in status control of the economy. And of course, many of the squad who are now really the energy, the fire, the passion in the Democratic Party. They want to dismantle our military, or at least shrink it dramatically. They want to declare Israel the enemy of humanity. They want America to apologize for all its various sins. We have a left that is anti-American, anti-capitalist, anti-individual human life. There are no individuals. There's just they. There are no individuals. It's just we. They want to dictate every value that we believe in. They don't want to give you the choice of art. I mean, after all, Michelangelo was a white, dead male. I wouldn't be surprised if smashing his sculptures were in some of these nutty leftists' prospects, ideas. The world is insane. That these ideas even take it seriously. That anybody takes these people seriously. But they do. They take them very seriously. They are our leading intellectuals at our leading universities. They are our leading intellectuals in the press and the media. Very little is written. We talk about press bias. I completely agree there's press bias. I mean, if you look at the amount of press that criticizes the squad for the nuttiness of their ideas. I mean, think about the Green New Deal. I did a whole show on it, and how completely and utterly insane it is. And yet nobody criticizes it. There's very little criticism. Yeah, a little bit. How do you pay for it? Same criticism the Republicans have. The media sometimes pushes AOC. How are you going to pay for it? As if that is the problem. Paying for stuff. So across the left, you have a massive movement towards the new left, towards the nihilistic left, towards the hatred of America, towards the hatred of individualism, the hatred of everything this country stands for. They want to regulate every aspect of our life, how we speak, what we say. Freedom of speech, of course, is under attack. We've talked about that many times. So we've got a crazy, wacky, insane left. And the center left, the so-called saner left, is nowhere to be seen. It doesn't exist because it has no leg to stand on. It is morally inconsistent. And Ayn Rand told us decades ago that in a battle between those who are inconsistent and those who are consistent, the compromise will always benefit those who are consistent. And you're only a little bit of a nihilist, you're only a little bit of an altruist, you're only a little bit of a statist, you're only a little bit of a socialist, then you are going to lose to those who are consistently more than that. So, the center is disappearing. And remember my show on Jeffrey Epstein. We'll get to Epstein in a minute on the right as well. But think about the lack of horror. The people who schmoozed with him. The kind of culture who treats a person like Epstein as somebody to be admired, to be respected. And most of that is leftist culture, not all of it. There's a bunch of right-wing people affiliated with Epstein, but there's a bunch that are on the left, including people like Dusowich and others who often seem rational, and yet, here's a guy, sleeps with girls, little girls. He just likes them young. That's it. That's how you dismiss it. And you attend his parties, and you attend his cocktail hour, and you attend his dinners as if nothing's happened. As if nothing's happened. So we have a leftist culture that is completely decayed, completely rotten, completely useless. There's nothing to be salvaged on the nihilistic left.
I wonder if I can ask you to capsulize. I know this is difficult. Can I ask you to capsulize your philosophy? What is Randism?
First of all, I do not call it Randism, and I don't like that name. I call it objectivism.
All right.
Meaning a philosophy based on objective reality. Now let me explain it as briefly as I can. First, my philosophy is based on the concept that reality exists as an objective absolute, that man's mind, reason, is his means of perceiving it, and that man needs a rational morality. I am primarily the creator of a new code of morality which has so far been believed impossible, namely a morality not based on faith.
On faith?
Not on faith, not on arbitrary whim, not on emotion, not on arbitrary edict, mystical or social, but on reason, a morality which can be proved by means of logic, which can be demonstrated to be true and necessary.
How does objectivism differ from the philosophies that many of us have been exposed to in our youths? Philosophies based upon religions, theologians, dogmatists.
The very first difference, objectivism tells you that it is not right, it is not proper to man to take anything on faith. Religion is a matter of faith. You accept a religion emotionally or because you were born to it. You have not chosen it rationally. What objectivism will tell you is that reason, man's reason, is his basic means of survival. That is the most important faculty which he has, and he has to guide his life and make his choices by means of his rational faculty. He has to make his own choices, but he has to know how to make them. It is immoral for him to act on his emotions, to be guided by the whim of the moment. That objectivism holds as very wrong, very immoral. And morality, in fact, consists of following your reason to the best of your ability. So that rationality is the basic virtue from which all the others proceed.
My morality is based on man's life as a standard of value. And since man's mind is his basic means of survival, I hold that if man wants to live on earth and to live as a human being, he has to hold reason as an absolute, by which I mean that he has to hold reason as his only guide to action, and that he must live by the independent judgment of his own mind, that his highest moral purpose is the achievement of his own happiness, and that he must not force other people, nor accept their right to force him, that each man must live as an end in himself and follow his own rational self-interest.
Tell me the value of selfishness.
Use another word, self-esteem. The value of selfishness is that you esteem yourself as a value, that you live according to your nature, which means by the judgment of your own mind, and you respect your own mind, you respect your own ability to do the right thing, therefore you respect the possibility of being a morally virtuous person, and you regard yourself as a value worth preserving. To make a success of yourself in any line of rational activity is a great virtue. And people will attack you for exercising your ability, for hard work, for consistency, for ambition. And they will want to make you feel guilty of it. That is the greatest evil, according to my philosophy.
And wait, say that again. The greatest evil, according to your philosophy, is to attack an individual because of virtue.
What I call it is to experience or act on hatred of the good for being the good. That is attacking people for their virtues, for their achievements, for anything they have which is a value, actually. not for their flaws and not for their evil. In fact, people who preach that are the ones who are mawkish about the evil people, the failures, the liars, the cheats. Everybody who is weak suddenly acquires some kind of value. But anyone who is a success has to be attacked for his success.
And look at how you have been attacked.
Oh, I know.
How you have been criticized. That there are
You know that?
There are many people in this country, forgive me, in this world who think you're daft.
They don't. They want you to listen to that.